Welcome, MAT086, Unit 1, Lesson 4. Let's do some warming up here on with a little geometry. Number 1 says perimeter, area, and volume. It's important to understand these concepts because Alex may ask you if it's feet versus feet squared versus feet cubed. When you're measuring a room and you're measuring the dimensions of the room, like for baseboard around the edges, it's one-dimensional distance. We're just measuring the length all the way around, and that's perimeter. So we're going to get a number of feet. Okay, if we were talking in feet or inches, it would just be plain inches. If you're talking about area, area is dimensional, is two-dimensional. So if we're putting carpet in the room, I would need to know the area, the surface area of the floor. So that would take two dimensions, length and width, being multiplied together. And when I get my final answer, it'd be square feet or feet squared. Okay. Volume is how much space this room takes up, let's go with, as a general analogy. It would take three dimensions or three measurements to measure the amount of space that this room takes up in the house. So length times width times height or depth, however you want to refer to it. But since it's three measurements, it's cubic feet or feet to the third power. Okay, so any perimeter of anything is a single unit. If you're measuring the surface area of a computer screen, it's feet squared or inches squared, probably. Volume takes three dimensions to measure, and then it's cubic feet or feet cubed. Okay, so when you put your units in, if they're not already there for you, make sure you're picking the right one. So for example, a rectangular shape, the formula of a perimeter, P equals 2L plus 2W is the most common one we use. If a room is 10 feet wide and the length, it's by 12 feet long, what would its perimeter be? We substitute that into the formula. Our unknowns is a P, and we need the L, which is 12, and the W, which is 10. 2 times 12 is 24. Orders of operations for expression: multiply first and then add. So our perimeter of this rectangular shape is 44 feet. All right, if the desk surface area is 6.2 feet long and its area is 20.45 square feet, how wide is the desk? How wide is the desk? That's the question. We don't know what that is. So we're also using W for the width. So we need the area formula, which is A equals L times W. Substitute in what we know. The area is 2045. The length is 6.2, and the W we don't know. And push it together, it's going to be multiplied by the W. Now to solve for W, we isolate the W by getting it by itself, by dividing by whatever's in front of it. So we will get W equals 3.298, and the decimal goes on. I notice it's round to the nearest tenths place. So this is 3.3, and it's an area, so it's square feet. Okay. A cylinder has a radius. A cylinder, that's like a Coke can, right? Has a radius, which is the center out over, of 6 inches. A volume, the whole thing has a volume of inches. This would be cubed. That's a typo. I'll try to fix it. What is the height of the cylinder? Here is the formula here. So for V, it's 565.2 equals pi, which we're going to use 3.14. That's not the pi that's on your calculator. The pi that's on your calculator has more digits than that. In this class, we only use this as a representation. Remember, pi is not a variable. It's a symbol that represents a particular number of 3.14, okay? So let's see, r is the radius, which was 6, and that's going to be squared times h, which we don't know. So h is our unknown, and we're going to follow PEMDAS right now, getting this one side cleared up, and the parentheses or the exponent or square roots are first. So keep this the same and square this first, which is being multiplied by this 3.14 and multiplied by h. So 3.14 times 36 is 113.04 times h. Okay, let me rewrite that so I got some room here. Now, how do we isolate our h? We divide by, because it's being multiplied, we want to divide by what's in front of it so I can get rid of it, so I'll have an h left. So we divide this side by that. We have to divide the other side by that. Put that in my calculator. And believe it or not, I get 5. So what is the height of this cylinder? It is 5 inches. Okay. And then just some practice on our equations we should already know how to do. Sorry if it's a little dark. I have this all the way up. Yeah, I can't do anything about it right now. I'll try to do it better. Up here, we have nothing to distribute. Remember, we're using DCMI. Distribute anything that is distributable. This one doesn't have anything, so we'll go to combine like terms. Combine like terms is on one side. So there are 2 variable terms with the same variable on the same side. So if there's not a numerical coefficient in front, we want to put a 1 if that's helpful. So 1x plus 3x is 4x's. I'm just combining like terms. Okay. And now I want to move across the equal sign. Which way am I going and what am I doing? Well, I noticed there's 1 variable term and 2 constant terms. Sorry, let me see if I can't make it any darker. Here, let's try to go closer. There, maybe a little closer. So I need to get this constant over here with this one. I don't want to take this over here because I don't want nothing on one side. Remember, my final answer is going to look like this, and I want a number over here. Okay, so that means I want to add the opposite to both sides. That will get rid of this. 4x equals -7 plus 2. If you're using this calculator, remember we use this negative, just once, -5 plus 2 gives you a -3. And then I want to isolate my x by dividing by whatever next to it. So x equals -3/4. Okay, let's just do this one under here. This has a fraction in it, so there's 2 different ways to do it. If you just want to start with the easy way, get rid of this, you're going to move this 6 over to this side by adding its opposite and just getting rid of it on this side. Actually, there's 3 ways to do this one. That gets me there. And then you can either multiply by 3 over 4 or just multiply by the denominator. That was always helpful. And then divide by whatever is next to it. And you'll get x equals negative divided by a negative is a positive. The other way would be to clear your fractions from the beginning. It makes no difference. It might make it easier for you. I don't know. We're going to multiply it by our only denominator, which is 3. So this would be 18. Signs will stay the same. This is 12 divided by 3, or 4. Don't forget your x. And this is a 6. Move the 18. 6 minus 18 is negative 12. Divided by the 4, you get x equals 3. So either way, that works. Let's try that again over here. This one does have a distribution, so we always do that first. There is a 1 here, so 6 times 1 is 6x. Bring the x along. 6 times 4, 24, plus an x, plus a 3 equals an x. Combine like terms is next. So there's 4 terms here. There's 2 variable terms. I'm going to put them together. That is a 1x plus a 6x is a 7x. And then there's a positive 24 and a positive 3. So that makes a positive 27. And then there's an x on that side. So I have 3 terms left, and I have 2 variable terms that need to get together, but they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to move this one over here to get it going over here. And then this is a 1, so this is negative 6x. So 27 equals negative 6x. We're going to divide by whatever's in front of the x, and do it to both sides. And x equals 27 over 6, and it is a negative term. Okay. This one under here has a variable, or we can just move this 5 over first. A variable has a denominator in its variable term, which I'll do it both ways in just a second. To me, that's the easiest way, is to just move this over here first. All right, and then I'm going to multiply by 9, or you can multiply by 9 over 4. I like to do one step at a time. That's up to you. Get rid of the 4. F equals 18. Let's do it a different way. If you're going to clear the fractions first, which is fine to do. What's our denominator? It's 9. So we're multiplying everything by 9. It's 27. 4f, or 36 divided by 9 is 4. Negative 45. Add 45 to both sides. And again, the reason I have to go so fast is they don't want the videos to be too long. So reduce. And the last 2, let's do this one first. Looks a little easier than the other ones. We need to move the 75. And this is, believe it or not, 49, which looks weird, but just follow the rules. All right, this one's got a little bit of everything. So distribute first. This is a negative 1, so not touching the 6. Remember, you're not allowed. It's not a shortcut. It's an improper move to add these 2 together. It's called a distraction term, okay? Just setting you up there. If I have a positive 2 times a negative 1, that's a negative 2, bring the x along. Positive times positive times 4 times negative 3 is a positive 15 plus 2. And then I've got 3 terms on both sides, so I need to combine like terms first. That is a positive 6 plus a 8 is a 14. So keep this here. And 2 constant terms is a 17. And then I've got 1 of each on each side, so it's time to move. So I'm going to move the 14 here over to here. And that means the 20 has to go over here. Make sure you're only crossing out one thing on each side. You can do it one at a time. I just kind of get lost with the vertical way or the horizontal way with all things going off to the sides. I like the nice horizontal way here. Clearly see these crossed out, clearly add these together, which gives me 18x. And this adds together to give me a 3. Divide by 18. X equals 3 over 18, which is reducible by 3. So 1 over 6. Okay.